Today is Thursday, 15th of August, and I'm just leaving the office to go home. I've had a really good week where lots of stuff has happened. Well, I guess the big news is that I'm no longer a learner rider. I got my provisional license now. That's the last skills-based test that I have to take. And from this point forward, in a year's time, I am upgraded to P2, Provisional 2, and then a year after that, automatically, I get a full license. So I am possibly competent at riding my bike, which is just assuring, because I've been on the roads for 4,900 kilometers now, and it's good to know that I'm not completely bad. Hopefully no one will run me over now, because that would be, the timing of that would just be impeccable. It was a lot of fun doing the test, actually. You have to do a lot of low-speed maneuvering through a lot of cones, weaving in and out of them. As you would think that on a bike, the most fun thing to do is twisties, or just go really fast. But those low-speed cones were actually really challenging. I don't know, I wasn't really very nervous about it because, well, they drag you into a classroom and they explain everything to you, and they give you some really encouraging advice. Basically, you've been on the roads with your learners for a fair bit already and you haven't died, so chances are if you survived the wild traffic, you'll be fine in this little obstacle course. So after that, they're like, well, get on your bikes, warm up your tires, and we'll just do a few laps. I was the first one into the little track, but I went into the wrong track. I went into basically the obstacle course, which was the test, and so right off the bat I went through it and I did all the weaving stuff. A lot more, everything was not set up yet. It was all just sort of put towards the side, so I did it all hard mode, and I did it fine. So the instructor just sort of looked at me and went, well, we know you're passing, and I just had a blast for the rest of the day. The funnest thing about it was getting to hang out with some other boys. It was all very like a straight, heterosexual, masculine, like mechanical sort of culture, where we were shooting the shit and talking about our bikes and just sort of boyish stuff like that. And I haven't done that since high school. I went to an all-boys school, so that's what I grew up with. And so to just be transplanted back into that, and it was a lot of fun. So there were 6 of us, and we were joined by 4 halfway. And these are people that failed last time, so they came back only for the test, not the training prior hand. So and they all passed, so good on them. It doesn't matter that they failed the first time. They get to come back into the obstacle course again. Oh, I love that course. It's just little cones and it's really dinky and all that, but it's a wicked amount of fun to finesse the clutch with your bike. I kind of want to do it again. So yeah, I did really well for my CBR is not as maneuverable as, say, a naked bike, but I didn't knock over a single cone, whereas the naked bikes, you know, the foot went down, cones were knocked over. But I think that's fun because you're practicing and everyone's still learning. I think that's the point of a provisional rider. You don't have your full license yet and you're still learning the ropes, so good on you for trying. So the day after, I got a haircut, and then the day after I went and got my photo taken for my new provisional license. Despite my efforts with getting a proper haircut and not having helmet hair, the person at the moto registry took the worst photo of me possible, and I look positively terrible. But I'm only stuck with being a provisional for 1 year, so in a year's time I get to have another terrible photo. yeah, work's been pretty awesome recently. I've been given the resources, support and time that I've really needed to get what I want done. I got to sign off on a new law firm because everybody else was out, all the bigwigs were out. I got to sign the new law firm in. That's brilliant. It's a bit of it's a completely gimmickal and just stupid little asinine point, but you don't get to sign a brilliant law firm in every day, so I'm super happy about that. We set up the new server for it, and all the new hardware, and all the new lines for it, and the website, and things like that, and how it's going to work and all that. And it's a really interesting process setting up a new small business. And I got all that done, and so I'm just super happy with myself. It's just little things like that that make me oddly happy. So yeah, I'm in an extremely good mood. Besides that, I had a really good run-in with the new little junior. He was getting chewed on by someone, and I stuck up for him, and I chewed on the person who was chewing the junior. Basically, I found it completely unfounded and unbased and ridiculous that you would let your ego drive like that and, you know, be not so nice to someone who's quite vulnerable underneath you. So, fuck him. The junior was not in the wrong, nor was the other guy. It was a miscommunication error by HQ. So no one should feel bad about that, except maybe HQ, but even then doesn't matter, it's so small. So I came along and diffused that, and, you know, chewed the chewer just a little bit, and the chewer had to re-meet the junior half an hour later, to which I'm like, no man, I'm gonna come along, I'm gonna just go down and get him, and I'll set it up so that that doesn't happen. So it was nice to get my like grrr on, and which doesn't happen very much because I don't know, like work's just going so well for me. Yeah. What I do for work is basically fail, by the way. I am allowed to experiment wildly and try things regardless of arbitrary KPIs and metrics and all that. So that's a huge privilege and blessing that I definitely don't take for granted. Luckily for me, well, when things do work out, people like it quite a lot. But even then, it doesn't work out by design. It sort of works out by design, by framework. But the finer details, it just sort of happens to be the way it is. I think it's terrible that we stigmatize mistakes and things that we can't imagine as bad, and that we always try to have everything defined and scoped and be so precise. When something happens, like surpasses what you imagined, is that not the greatest thing ever? I don't ever want to be limited by my own imagination or my own scope or my own knowledge pool. I want to build a solution that is the best possible that it can be. So, you know, little coding quirks through the way the system runs, or the database is set up, or just little coding syntaxes and little quirks and idiosyncrasies. I love that stuff, and so that's why I love my job. I really do. I get to fail every day and discover things and always keep learning, no matter what kind of project I'm handling. And so yeah, I'm really quite happy with that. So yeah. So last time we talked about family. I don't know what the Ford acronym is. Family, occupation, relationship, and dreams. So I talk about family. We've heard way too much about what I do for a living. So I guess the next thing is relationships. For those that don't know, I was engaged for 3 years. I met a blokey Englishman, and I asked him to marry me, and we built a life for ourselves, and it was wonderful. The first year was picturesque. It was picture perfect. The second year we got really quite busy with our careers, and then the third year we were so stubborn to stay together and sort of do right for each other in our own ways, in our own crazy, weird ways. But ultimately, we weren't happy anymore. And that's a crazy revelation when you love someone so much, to realize that you don't make them happy and that they don't make you happy anymore. We grew apart, and so what can you do? We tried counseling and talking lots and fighting lots. All sorts of crazy arguments and antics ensued, but in the end we decided to separate. And that was super hard, and that just sucked massively. Yeah. But hopefully he's doing well. At the moment I'm watching Game of Thrones. I've just finished that. I'm playing Final Fantasy 12 on the PS2. Hell yeah! It's actually, although I've got the real disc and a real PS3 too, actually, I'm emulating it on PC because it's less jaggy and the graphics are better. And I'm having such a blast. I never got to finish Final Fantasy 12, so getting, I guess, time in this amazing world that is just pulsing with life. I love it to bits. I just bought Ender's Game, which is a sci-fi novel that I've been told to read many, many times, and currently it's queued behind a book called The Millionaire Next Door, which is a personal finance book. Big epiphany came out of it in the realization that the richest people in the world are quite frugal, and because they're smart with their money, that they don't live high consumption, high income lifestyles, just high income, little bit consumption. But yeah, and it's a shifting point that you don't need all these things to make you happy. It's the experiences that matter, right? And that's a cliche that we all know, but I guess when you spend an entire book having it drummed into your head and shown actual examples of how people live, or at least how they model themselves, I think that's the worth of the book. The book's points can be distilled down to like a 2-page white paper, but its real value comes from having this sustained drumming of examples of points into your head, because then it stays. Whereas if you read something casually, you know, it's in your head for a while and then it's gone. So that's something that I highly recommend to anyone, to everyone really. See this bit? This is my favorite stretch of road because it's the one I ride consistently every day home. Usually there's no car in front of me, so I can, you know, really just lean over. But yeah, it's the most familiar bit of road to me, and when I'm on it, I feel like I'm right about to go home, and that's a great feeling. So yeah, and I guess it's familiarity where you're so used to the rhythm of the line that you take that you don't really think about it, and instead you really get like an intimate little feeling time with your bike and how it's running.